Hello, and welcome to Intuitive Clarifications with Natasha. And I am here to assist you in your life's journey. And I want you to remember your truth is your truth. And thank you for being here already for whoever's here. And I know one of them is Veronica. So I want you to remember that you are so loved. And I want everything that I say today. And Regan will be here. He just texted me and said that he's heading home and he maybe just be a little bit late, but that's okay because we're all living life right now. And I know that, hi, Kim, how are you? Thank you for being here too. I'm so grateful. We're all here in the midst of doing life and doing what we can do and how we are and where we're at. So today's show is going to be about how can you negotiate the world we're coming into, but yet still living in the 3D world. Well, I know for me, I've had some great experiences to tell you about, and this might be my perception of it, but remembering that you have your own eyes, your own knowings, and that kind of thing. So, me being an intuitive medium, I'm always witnessing the world as a metaphor. And that's one thing that, if you can do that for yourself, it's helpful. Like I was helping a friend who, she ended up having a leak in a pipe in her kitchen. Well, like we were talking when I had lunch with her as a friend, and we were talking about that, how life even in our own home can mean something. So like if you have a water leak in your home, that it represents emotions somewhere. How And then with hers being a pipe that was behind a cabinet with storage, and then she had to go through her flooring and then find out about asbestos and all that kind of stuff, that it was part of that journey of finding out that she had deep down emotions because it was subflooring, right? So the deep down emotions. And then, how can she get her belief system that has been so old, and she's on the older side of life, and she's lived through the Bible Belt, and down in Alabama and all that kind of stuff. So she's in the thick of how women in the 50s and 60s were coming up, and I mean this with a lot of love for her, and I know she wouldn't mind me talking about her. But and it was like one of those things. So how can she get through her deep belief system to where she's not feeling so punished about what she's doing, because she felt like the black sheep of the family for most of the years of her life, right? So how can she do that? So it's her moving that forward. And then as she has a cabinet, well, what's stored in a cabinet? Memories, right? So how can we move those memories forward as she's redoing? So, with that, be prepared to really look at how life is trying to teach you. And as we go through this 3D world, we're going to still be in life, because as we're moving forward, and yes, the star beings are starting to show themselves. Yes, we're starting to get into this. Yes, we're going to have to realign. We have a new government here in the United States that's trying to do their thing. Not too sure yet how it's going to be, but we're doing this. So I'm going to let Regan get settled here for a minute and get settled. So there's no rush, Regan. But as we're going forward, that life is about teaching us about how to be in the new dimensional world that we're moving into. And I'm going to tell some stories here, and I'm going to greet Regan here because I know he's getting kind of still set up. But one of them is that one day I was driving along and I hit all my yellow lights, all those yellow lights, right? And those yellow lights, I took it as caution. Be cautious. Be where you are. Think about how you're driving. Think about what you're doing. Now, I didn't punish myself for being there, and one of the lights that I was never going through at a red light. It was always like it turned yellow right as I was coming up to it, and I couldn't stop or halfway through. And so, there's a police right there. So it was like that double whammy of an exclamation point about saying, it's like be conscious and cautious. Well, before that, I was being told to get a new wallet because, the color of my wallet, it was starting to get uncomfortable. And my wallet had not necessarily disappeared, but, I put it in a bag coming home one day from the grocery store, and it ended up somewhere else in the house. So I had to find it. And then coming home from that time that I had the yellow lights, that, my wallet ended up landing in the doorway of my car, right? So coming into this, that I came home, one of the first things I did was I changed my wallet and I changed my purse because I needed to settle myself. So think about how the world around you is trying to think. So I took that as cautious, about my money, cautious about the way I'm talking, cautious about my energy, cautious about how I'm interacting. So think about those kinds of things. And so I'm going to take a segue here and say Regan's here, and I just love having Regan come in and be with us and negotiating our story with us. And you've just been so much on my mind about hoping everything's good. You live in
Yeah.
California, so yeah, I know you know a lot of people down in the LA area.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody that I know is doing pretty good. Uh, David Young, who's a good friend of mine, a musician, and that he was right in the middle of the fires. He came out of his apartment and he's going down, I forget which highway, but he said it was like he was in some kind of for a gig, and apparently his place ended up being okay. But so many people down there said that it's nothing that they could have even imagined of ever anything like that happening. I mean, it just seems so, you think of somebody in the mountains where you got all the trees around and all that, but not going through, thousands of homes burned down in a residential neighborhood. Um, but
It's
yeah,
unbelievable, actually.
but then I saw an old documentary that was done called what would we say, something waiting to happen. There's that saying, something waiting to happen. Well, anyway, they did. This was back in the '60s, and it was shot by a person making movies in Hollywood, and he was saying, "Oh, disaster waiting to happen," and he was talking about that because of the Santa Ana winds. And because that the brush that's around all these homes is the most flammable of about any type of thing that could be flammable. And then it showed in the early, some either late '60s, early '70s, they had something similar happen with the Santa Ana winds, and it wiped out a neighborhood, but not in the degree that this is. So he was warning and just saying, you need to prepare for this eventually. You need to whatever, because this is going to happen. So I think it's not that the people that are doing the planning there, they had to be aware of it. But again, I mean, if I was down there and I was ahead of things, I, I would have thought, oh, it's gonna no, it's gonna be okay. Nothing like this could happen. But and I'm getting ready to go in 2 weeks down there, so I'll get to see some of the what's
I
happening
know
down.
my love goes
You
to,
know,
and my thoughts and my prayers go to anybody and everybody going through this. I mean, we have it on both sides of our US here, of destruction, because I was
yeah,
down in Florida during in the aftermath of the hurricane down there, and because I was down in Sarasota, which is down Tampa area. And they've had three hurricanes that hit them almost boom, 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 boom. And it was just
yeah,
amazing how, Florida kind of, like my father-in-law used to say, hey, once in a while we get some really bad rain. So Florida
yeah,
kind of is ready for it within a reason, but yet, North Carolina and a lot of that area that is just in the mountains there are just in destruction. And, now we got California. So both sides almost on the same
yeah,
parallel.
yeah,
If you
and
really think
that
about it, in the same
and that
parallel is
yeah,
that just came to me, that is in this moment of rebuilding themselves,
and then
and the
they're having
destruction's still happening.
yeah, and then they're having colder than ever temperatures up in the north now. In Canada and in North Dakota, the northern states where it's like they're predicting like 30 below, and
Mhm.
it's so I wonder your take now, being as you have this nice connection to the other side. I'm just tell you from me that doesn't have as much of a direct connection as you, but what I'm feeling and sensing is that all this stuff is part of the what I call the shakeup. The political issues been going on, it's like everything is popped out and becoming abnormal or unnormal, all the way around, relationships.
Mhm.
politics, climate, and I'm wondering if it's all this, um, I don't know, what's the right word to say, but it's like a balancing or a shakeup or something that needs to happen for us to get to this higher level of consciousness, that it's like the tree is shaking now, and any of the unripe fruit, or any of the bad fruits is going to fall, like people that aren't ready for it. And then
Mhm.
the people that are will go into this new higher consciousness, you know.
Exactly, and
Everybody
and, you
talks,
know,
yeah,
yeah, a lot of this weather I get a sense of is that, yeah, Mother Nature's in it. Mother Earth's in it. The skies are in it. We have a and I want everybody to remember, I'm stop right here and say, your truth is your truth. This is just a perception. This is just me
yeah,
tapping into the universe. I do not want to offend anybody what they believe. I really want to honor everybody's belief. I do take everything with a grain of salt that I see. I do take everything with, you know, deferring on, what is a truth and not. Sometimes I get something that pops up and I check in the truth, right? And I want to say that there was one morning where I just let my intuition just go where it needed to go. I just let it just weave through where it needed to go, and it went down to the fires. And it was
mhm,
really interesting how it was almost like there's all these people that had all these different truths, and I would have to weave through almost like a kid or a cat or a mouse running through legs, right? Because there was all these different stories, and there's not one fire that started this.
yeah,
You know, I really got that there's one time where a fire started, but then there's other fires that happen, because I get that there's some that somebody started, and then
mhm,
there's one that it was just like the wrong flip of the wind with the wrong scenario that happened, and whew, it went up. So there was a lot of different, it's like I almost fragmented off so many different places when my intuition went into it, because of the fact that it wasn't just one thing that was going forward, you know.
yeah,
And so there is a lot of interaction that I'm getting, that there's some two-leggers who are making some decisions to play with our weather a little bit,
mhm,
in addition to Mother Earth doing her work, in addition to what's happening. And I'm getting, as I'm tapping, and I really want to. Mikkel really wants to come through, so I hope you don't mind me channeling Mikkel while you're on today, because
okay,
he really wants to come through and kind of say some things. You can ask questions if you want, and
okay,
that kind of thing, because Mikkel is the star being, you know
yeah,
and he would really like to say some things, because he's tapping me. I can answer this, I can answer this, I can answer this. And so he's kind of telling me some truths as we're going. But
okay,
but it's just that, but in the end, it's all about shaking us up a little bit. How much are we reliant on something? Are we really reliant on our electricity? Could we work without electricity? Well, our world would basically break down, because as I'm saying that, I'm thinking, if I have candles, my candles are only going to last so long, and then I'm going to need to make candles. But do I have enough stuff to make candles? Right.
yeah,
And then, do I know how to make candles? I have enough
mhm,
books around that I can figure it out. But there again, my phone is only going to hold so much charge. And so, it's like I can only Google so much for so long. So, when we're thinking about things, how can we discern, how can we figure out how much can we think about not relying on one specific thing to do something?
yeah,
But that's not tomorrow. That
yeah,
may be
that's really
5 years
something,
from
yeah,
now. That might be 10 years from now. It may be tomorrow.
yeah. Maybe that's what happened when there were other civilizations thousands and or hundreds of thousands of years ago here on Earth, and their technology went away, and then they're back to being cavemen again. I mean, like I wouldn't know how to make a electric generator or anything. I mean, it would if our electric grid just disappeared, boy. I mean, so would a lot of the world.
Mm-hmm.
So much is dependent. Just think, your freezer, all your food would go bad. And, of course,
Exactly.
you can't see, you couldn't, all these electric vehicles now, they couldn't go anywhere. We actually couldn't go anywhere in our cars either because the pumps where we get gas at the gas station rely on electricity to pump the gas into our car. So,
And
that
this
would
is
be
not to put
something.
fear into anybody. It's
Yeah.
really not to put fear into anybody. But the thing is, though, right now, with the way that things are going and the way things are feeling like they're going, that, like we went and found somebody locally, and actually we could probably walk there if we had to get our beef. Now, I know that they're dependent on electricity too and feed, but I know that they have enough grass that if they learn to alternate, they could still do things, right?
Hmm.
And then we just get meat when and we'll figure out some kind of freezer situation, or something. Things are doable. It's just we don't know enough information yet to do it
No.
yet, you
Mm-mm.
know, because there's people living off the grid, that they figure out, you know, how to
Yeah.
negotiate. So,
Hmm.
we have wind power. We have, so we can create enough something if we're up to it to negotiate it, but it's really up to us on if we want to stay here or not.
Yeah. Hmm.
I
Hmm.
choose to. I'm willing to
Yeah.
walk
Well,
into the challenge.
yeah. See, there's so much to think about because we're thinking of the world changing as going to a higher consciousness, which is great, and that we're in the middle of that. But then if we decide to have World War III in the middle of it, then and that could take us back to the Dark Ages. And I don't know. The thing that I don't worry too much about is because when I went to the afterlife a second time, and we were asking about COVID a few years ago. So some of us Newton therapists swapped sessions, and 28 of us went to the other side and asked all the same questions about COVID and the vaccines. Came back, made a PowerPoint presentation, and is that we found out, all of us found out by doing it, that on the other side, when we asked about all that, it was a nothing burger, as they say. It's like they said, all the people that died, I mean, they're back home, in the afterlife, so they're doing just fine. And that some of the things they said was, it's nature, it's a balancing of things, it's, you know, and what's happening. And they were just like, well, what's the big deal? We asked about the vaccines, and they said it's everybody's personal choice. You know, they said if you think it'll help you, it might, but if not, don't worry about it. So we have all this, we're all excited, and they're going, well, what's the big deal? So it made me think of that in the terms of like what's going on with, Trump and all the changes that's probably coming in our government and the way we do things, and the climate change and everything like that. You do what you can do in your own little world, but you can't really worry about the rest because you kind of have to go along for the ride, like and I think it'll be okay, however it
We
shakes out.
and that's what I'm getting is control what you can control,
Yeah.
which is us. And I like I'm going to give this example. I was driving down the freeway on Saturday or Sunday, and within a mile there was 5 accidents on the other side of the freeway.
Wow.
And all of them had 3 cars. One had 4, and then one set had 2. So each one, so there's 3, 6, 9, basically 9,
Nine
12,
cars.
9 or 15 cars, right?
Yeah.
And they were all within just a short distance of each other. And I really tapped in all of a sudden and said, is that my perception? Is that
Yeah.
my reality? Is that my understanding? And I went, no, it's not. I'm free from that journey. So I kept going. And then that reality tried to come in and tap on me again. I was going a nice speed. Everybody else was going a nice speed. And then there would be a car that came up and wanted to go 100 miles an hour. I
Hmm.
politely moved over because I didn't want to be in that reality. And
Yeah.
then sooner or later, there's another car that pops up. I moved over, got out of that reality, you know,
Yeah.
because I chose to be in my reality. And that's the thing about this 3D world
Yeah.
is that we're going to still have to play in it. We're still going to have to negotiate it. We're still going to have to be what we are through it, because we're still going to have, the freeways. We're still going to have, things that are happening. And yes, things might change. Our cars may start flying, but we're still going to have things that are happening. Okay. So
Yeah.
that 3D world is always going to be in our reality. But what do we do when we're in the middle of it? Do we stress out about it? Do we play the game of it? Today I had kids who wanted to play on ice. I just politely turned around and said, off the ice. Did I get all caught up in it? Did I get angry about it? Did I, after the 15th time saying, and, within, 20 minutes, I still didn't engage with the again, 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 again.
Yeah.
Now, there was one time I said, do you want to spend some time on the wall?
Hmm.
Because they wouldn't listen to me. After that, they moved on. So, but yet I did not let myself get caught up in that story. I didn't
Yeah.
let myself get caught up in the, oh, they're not listening to me. I just got segued into saying, I want you to be safe. That was my main
Yeah.
intention, was to let people remember to be safe.
Yeah. So that brings up this thing about ignorance is bliss sometimes, and the way people take that. Like, I've known a few people now with the Trump situation that they won't, they're just saying, I'm just not even watching news anymore because I just don't want to get pulled into all that. And they said, whatever's going on, I don't want to know. But I'm thinking that's not quite the right term. I think what they're deciding is just like you, they're just saying, look, I can look at all this, I could get all excited about it, and I could get all angry and everything like this, or I can just do what I can do in my own little world and whatever. But maybe this term ignorance is bliss, because in a sense, is that's kind of like running away from what your reality is or something, or
Well,
is ignorance is it two
yeah,
different things?
exactly, because it's two sides to the same coin. So you can say ignorance is bliss. I don't want to know anything about it. I want to go away. But also, too, if you think about it, the energy of news is
Yeah.
very negative. It's very topsy-turvy. It keeps us in
Yeah.
that story of pain and ache and that kind of stuff. And some people, if they want to detach from that, that's a healthier thing, because news will
Yeah.
come to them no matter what,
Yeah.
right? We're going to know about things because somebody's going to talk about it somewhere,
Yeah.
you know. And I know that when I go down to California and stay with my friend, she doesn't watch the news.
Yeah.
I'm not any worse off.
Well, actually, yeah, when we went down to Cabo for the week and we're down in Mexico there, I didn't have the TV on once. And all these things happened when I got back. I realized, gosh, in a week, a whole bunch of stuff had happened politically and everything. But I was kind of nice just being detached from it for a while, because I find myself, you know, like on the internet, like Quora, some of the questions that come up, it's all this political stuff. And mostly now I'll just delete, delete, delete. But then every once in a while, if the heading is something there, I'll go, I got to find out about this. And then I find myself kind of fusing to it somewhat. And I go,
Hmm.
I just don't like this. So I don't know.
Exactly. And
Um,
so that's where we have to come down to this personal choices, because it is, do we need to play the game? And I want everybody to think that maybe that's the question that we should ask ourselves. Do we want to play the game? Do we want to play the game of the 3D world? The drama, trauma, heaviness, weightedness, and that kind of
yeah,
thing. Now, I'm not worried about if I'm on the 11th dimension, the 5th dimension, the 10th dimension. I'm not at all worried about what dimension I just want to have a safe mental, mind, emotional state.
yeah,
And part of that is not playing the game.
yeah,
It's like, I don't want to play in the drama game. And so if we can stay out of that drama game and see how we can help life be better by holding ourselves in a better sense, then it's like, if I see the chem trails going overhead, I ask my body to filter out the negative stuff,
Yeah,
you know?
that's one of my pet peeves. I keep hoping before I die at some point that the truth about those will come out. But I think I already know the truth. I mean, we're not getting what they're telling us the truth. So something's something's going on about controlling weather, or I don't know, but I just hate the line, the secrecy all the time, is what
I
gets
think
me.
that
So
there's not. Yeah, I think that's what's going to be coming out more is the secrecy of things.
yeah,
Like TikTok, was off for that 24 hours, and a lot of the people that were on TikTok, that were like using filters and doing this, that they came up and said, "Oh, I just want to come clear." Well, now that TikTok's back on, they're back into reality again.
yeah,
That, oh, I shared a vulnerability, which I'm glad they did. No judgment here on who they are. I mean, I never use filters. I am who I am. Most of the time I do a one thing on my videos, and I'm basically live every time I do something. It's like I'm
yeah,
not here to be anything but me. And, but they could not be that way. And so sometimes things happen, like TikTok being gone, so they can take that filter off and be their truer self. So what
yeah,
experience did that bring for them? I wasn't, I'm on TikTok now with doing my thing, especially since my Facebook got hacked. That I got off Facebook, right? So
yeah,
coming into something that on TikTok, and it was like, hmm, oh well, oh well. I wasn't going to play the game of it. I knew it was going to go back on, but it was
yeah,
like, what do we do? It's if we put these filters on all the time, that's the 3D world. Yeah, the more you can be yourself, the more you can be your truer self. Now, that's not easy to be around everybody and be your truer self, right? But the
hmm
more we can practice to be our truer self, the more that life is going to pay us off with, hmm, like I was in a meeting yesterday and I spoke up with some things that not necessarily were good or bad, but they just needed to be spoken of. And I had a couple people said that I spoke well. That I didn't sit there and go, and they did, they.
yeah,
No, I went, they didn't know better to do better. You know,
yeah,
this is the thing that is the cause and effect, of what they're doing. And so I was more about how can we heal this and how can we know the information so we can make a better choice for the future for a lot of people
yeah,
you know, if you don't know the information. And so coming into this, try to find that information for yourself to help your life do better.
yeah. Well, see, we talk about everything's changing. One other thing that's changing too, we've talked about this. It just seems to come up all the time. Is this thing about time? Like I would swear that I was on with you maybe a week ago, and it's been a month. You know, and but anybody I ask, I said, doesn't it seem like time is somehow shifting somehow that it's harder to remember like what you just try to think what you did last week, the week before, and you can't kind of remember if it was 2 months ago or if it was it just a day ago or something. And so I thought, well, maybe I'm getting older and am I starting to lose it? But I don't think so. I think as the space between here and the other side gets smaller and smaller, where on the other side there's no time and space. And I think I'm just my take on it, but I think as we're getting closer, that's kind of what's becoming here too, that we're becoming more in the now, more everything's just kind of happening in a timeless sense or something. I don't know. But something's shifting that way too. So I don't
You know what I'm getting? I'm
what.
getting that we're walking between dimensions.
Yeah, yeah, so, right. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I think we are right now. Like if we're going to what a 5D, as they say, or somehow I forget. I read why we're skipping 4D, but we're going right to 5D or something.
Well,
It's
4D has its its own negotiations between those two. Um, it's kind of like a manifesting time, place, and that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, but I'm not really worried about 5D, 4D. 10, like I said before, I'm going to be where I'm needing to be.
Right.
If I am called to be in the 3D world, i.e. on the freeway, i.e. praying prayers out there, i.e.
Hmm.
Doing what I'm doing, that it's a story. And like on the way back on Monday, there was we had a huge accident here on I-5, that there was two kids that were racing, and one ended up rear-ending a semi, caught his
Yeah.
car on fire, and he's not here anymore. And the
Uh,
other kid, because he was doing reckless driving, he's in jail. And I was in the on one day going south, I was in car wreck, or there's car wrecks on the other side. On this time, I was in the backup because of it. And it was just interesting to see how, as we're going forward, that we still have to play the game. We
yeah.
still have to negotiate the story. We still have to, like, the picture that I took for, I was dead stopped. And so I took a picture, and that's the picture that was for the show. And, 3 lanes of red lights, going zero, that, because we weren't moving, because they were having to get, maybe the fire out of on the car.
Yeah.
God, that car was non-existent, basically, because of things that were damaged. But there again, in the middle of me being in a bunch of cars around me, I was careful of the cars behind me and in front of me, but we were listening to Enigma, kind of some spiritual
Oh, I
music
love
that,
that. Yeah.
and we were talking amongst ourselves, even though I was on and I was paying attention, but we were kind of in our own dimension, in our own reality, in the sense of being in the 3D dimension world. So you can be in your
Yeah.
own scenario if you're allowing yourself to not get pulled in to the rabbit hole. And I want people to remember that if you are pulled into a rabbit hole, emotionally, physically, spiritually, there's always a ladder to get out of it. There's almost like a spring at the
Yeah.
bottom of it. And if you use it, you can get out of these rabbit holes that life wants to bring us down. Push the
Yeah.
reset button.
That also shows like how everyone's actions, you think your own actions just affect you. Sometimes we seem to think that, but so many of the choices we make in actions, if we could look behind us and see the ripple effect, like look, that one guy, them being irresponsible and crashing, and now everybody's timeline changed. Everybody's getting to wherever they wanted to go at a different time. People having to deal with their emotions and that. You could have some guy goes home and he spent an hour in traffic. He goes home and he yells at his wife because he's so upset, and then she gets mad and spanks the kid when she shouldn't, and then the kid goes out and or pushes his sister down, and then the sister cries, and I mean it's almost what would be good to show that sometimes with Hollywood. Maybe they've probably done this, but maybe made a movie about that. Like dominoes.
The ripple effect.
you know like some person's selfish thing they do, and they don't even look around, but whatever that little change they made, it just goes down, and what a mess it makes, that way.
Or
So
you can do the opposite. I came home and was grateful to come home to my husband, come home
yeah,
to my
right,
home. I was
yeah,
so grateful to be able to come home safely and have what I have, the fires, the
yeah,
mudslides, it's like whatever it is, the snow, the wind, the rain, whatever the element is that chooses to be the dance of the day,
yeah.
it's like, but I choose to come home and find gratitude for what I have, because I am damn lucky to have what I have. I have a very
Yeah,
rich life, you
yeah, me
know?
too. And you know what I just saw in my mind? It's like I was above that, above you guys, when you said all the red lights, and everybody stopped and all that. And somehow I saw down below, and I saw on top of each car there was a check mark of like, okay, this incident here cause them to do something good. And these cars here cause them to do something bad, like pluses and minuses on the car. So I can see a bunch of pluses and, because again, that's all about our choices all the time. When negative things happen, which we consider negative or things that we weren't planning on, that make our life more challenging. Every moment we have to decide what we're going to do with that. And it appears that there's always a positive way where you can still have a positive, wonderful day and everything that, if you just choose to, if you choose not to go down the rabbit hole of negativity, and everything.
Exactly. But if you do, there's always a ladder to get out. It's just a personal choice to do it.
Yeah.
And like this morning, I love my husband. We kind of went into an old story of miscommunication. He's a morning person. He can think straight in the morning. It takes a little while for my mouth and my brain to connect in the morning. And so perfectionism runs in his desires. And so it was an interesting little dance that we did this morning. But there was one time that there was a doorway of opening up a reset button, and I chose to be the one that stepped into it, and he gratefully followed suit. He didn't stay down his rabbit hole, and it's like at any point in time you can negotiate it, but it's a perception. How much do we stay hurt? How much do we stay in trauma? Do we stay in? And that's one thing that the universe right now is really asking us to do, is really look at our stories. How much are we staying in our stories? How much are we staying in the dance of things? And I know for me, I have had numbers that have been going crazy lately. And many numbers that have been, right here saying, look at this, look at that. Even I think I was waking up at 4:54, at one time, and I looked up what 4:54 was, and I started sleeping through 4:54 because I looked it up, because the universe was done telling me what it was that they wanted me to know. And so, a lot of times the universe will keep knocking on you. That's, I think, why I didn't get into car wrecks. That's why I didn't keep seeing the same car wreck, is because I kept paying attention to what the universe was trying to tell me, trying to show me. That's why I didn't keep getting and it was funny because, I was telling the story about the yellow lights at the beginning. Well, as soon as I heard, and I said, I know, I hear you. I'll be cautious. I'll be conscious about what I'm doing. I'll be making sure that I, dot my I's and cross my T's and really kind of pay attention. And it was funny because I started hitting the green lights after that, after hitting like 7 or 8 yellow lights. And so, it is a thing about paying attention to the universe. The universe will talk to you through numbers, through interactions, billboards, conversations, shows like this, little videos, whatever it is. The universe will help you if you're willing to pay attention.
Yeah, I know. I guess, see, part of my mind, I was always about those things, even though in my life, like following this inner guidance or these God sightings that you have that kind of give you information you need to kind of help you get to the next step or whatever. But there was still part of me that just goes, oh, somebody says, their orange juice spilled in the morning and that meant something, and I went, well, I think the thing is we have to be just aware of what's going on, more aware of what all these little things that are happening in our life. And sometimes orange juice is spills, but sometimes depending on what you're going, what you're thinking, and what you're doing, that spilling of the orange juice might mean something to somebody where it doesn't to somebody else, sometimes. So again, it's just discern, it's like saying, okay, God, I'm going to be aware of everything happening today, and I'm going to discern things and find out, are you talking me through something? I had one of the biggest things that happened to me that way was when I was dating my second wife, who I met at clown school, wife Connie. It was like an immediate, I did, when I first set eyes on her, we ended up having dinner or eating together where all the other clowns were eating and stuff. And, we talked to like 3 o'clock in the morning. Everybody was asleep. Anyway, eventually I ended up marrying her. But there was a times when it was happening so crazy, and it just seemed like like this is a miracle, that like you met your soulmate or something, you know. Uh, but then you get all these doubts. She had 4 children that I would have to take over, you know. So then
Mm-hmm.
every time well, at one point in the relationship, the song "Lady in Red" is from the '80s or something, came on, and that was our song in a sense. So for 3 times during that 14 months that we courted, when I had doubts about anything and was thinking, geez, am I doing the right thing? I would turn on the radio and that song, the first note of it would play. Oh my God. You know, the first time it was like, wow. But the second and the third time, you
It was like,
cannot
I got
mistake it.
the
That's
message.
that's a million to one, you know, thing kind of that. But you know, like people talk about, well, they had to think of something else and they see a license plate that says something, and that's the answer to they had. So I really become a firm believer that the other side communicates to us through pretty much, you know, can communicate through us through everything. As we get more evolved, then it gets to be more direct. I think, you know, like it's almost like you have more of a direct connection. But it teaches you
Yeah,
to pay attention.
I really take everything as a metaphor. You
Yeah,
know, everything in my life is a metaphor, you know, conversations, things that are happening. Even this show, there's been a lot of like things that I can, you know, glean off of to help my life do better. You know,
yeah,
perspectives that you have, things that I just said, and I'm like, I didn't know that. I just, you
yeah.
know, because I'm channeling, you know,
I know it's new.
so
Oh, now here in my mind, one of my clients this last week, it's my busiest month ever, by the way. I have 12, well, by the end of the month, it'll be doing 12 life between life sessions. And
wow.
they've all been really long and all really complicated, but it's been so exciting because I'm learning new things about the afterlife, you know, when they're over there. But one of them was talking about, not when he's in the afterlife, but we're just talking, and he was giving me an update on the God phone, that this guy just created a thing called the God phone. And I heard about it a few years ago. I tried to find it again on the internet and everything, because I remember when I was first talking, this medium who talks to Tesla and Edison and like 3 of these, you know, invention, you know, souls, these guys, and they talked about guiding him how to put together a machine that would give yes and no answers. So people, say if they have a loved one on the other side, they can just call them up on the phone to the other side. Well, now this he says that they're getting ready to go full bore with this, and they're challenging any naysayers, you know, that to because they've proven by blind tests and all this stuff that the stuff that they're getting from the other side is real. So they're saying, look, anybody doesn't think this is real, come on, you know, and we'll do a thing, and you'll find out that, you know, through these tests that it's real. So that's just one thing showing in that device is it's like there's more mediums. I think there's more mediums in training now than ever before. You know, there's more people that are connecting. The God Fund will be for a person on a certain wavelength that's, you know, fits them. And what I'm doing, where people go into trance and they go to the afterlife and back for several hours, that's another way. You know, people will be becoming more aware of their dreams and realize that's one way that, you know, oh wait, maybe these dreams aren't all nonsense. You know, maybe there is something that's coming on. You know, so you know, it's things are changing, and I think we all came down here to be part of this. Our souls knew, and we wanted to come down and be here at this change to help out. You know, because
I
they need
totally can respect that
a lot of
too.
light
I know.
workers, right?
Yeah, I can totally say that too myself. I'm part of that connection. I'm part of
Yeah,
that connection.
yeah, yeah. I'm finding out. Me too. You know, and the clients that come to me, so many of them, um, when they go to the other side and they find out what their goal is and what they came down here to do, most of them find out that they've come down here to be a light worker in some sense, even if it's just in a small little thing, you know, dealing with family or children or being a teacher and
Mhm.
how they deal with their children and everything. So, um, you know, we're in an exciting time now. So, um, you know, in the shift. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm just saying, bring it on, you know, and see
Well,
what
cool.
happens.
Do you mind for the next like 15, 20 minutes that I channel
No.
Mikkel?
Oh, that would be wonderful. Yeah.
Okay,
And
and you
one
can ask
okay.
questions.
Oh, good. Okay, I've got a few things about the aliens I want to ask.
Well, they're not
And
aliens.
yeah,
They're family. So
well, about whatever we call what we consider
yeah.
them being people that are off world or not, um, people that are uh, watching after us or whatever they're doing.
Mhm. Yeah.
All right.
So, as I channel, I am not a full channel, but yet I want people to remember that I do change my voice. I do change, and I'm getting clearer and clearer in my channeling. But please remember that if you don't believe in channeling, that even if you find the words, the message, the knowings, if they sing kind of a little bit on the true side for you, please remember that that is the truer message. It's not if you believe in channeling, but it's
Yeah.
what's being said. It's the understanding that's being done. And Mikkel and I are getting a deeper and deeper message. I keep talking to him outside of the
Hmm.
show here, and and we have together decided that this is going to be a unisonness of him helping us do, like he says, that him and Bashar are here, and others that are doing
Yeah.
this work are
Yeah.
here to bring us into an enlightenment that is beyond our understanding. And it's about us getting cleaner in our bodies. And that's one thing. So just give me a second here and
Okay.
I will, he's right here. So it won't take very long.
Okay.
Hello, dear ones. You are coming into some tremendous moments of your life right now. And I
Yeah.
want you to remember that as you go forward in your stories and your dance of your life, it is about coming back into your body a little bit more and more and more. A lot of you are up above your body and not really truly enjoying being fully in your body. So it is time really for you to believe it. And the more you are in your body, the healthier you will be. And it's not necessary that your soul is all in your body. Remember, it's around the body. It is about being supportive with the body. It's about understanding that it is safe to be in that body. And that is one thing. As you come into a lot of this new year, of this year, fear is going to want your body to be not home. Does that make sense? Because fear shoots your soul, your understandings, your understandings of a lot of your being of your body wants to shoot out. So come out of fear and go into trust if you can, because there are going to be a lot of triggers coming up. There are a lot of uncertainties in your skies right now. And as the skies are changing, because the dimensions are changing, that the sky is going to start looking a little different coming up. And it could be that my brothers and sisters, as we know each other, are going to be showing themselves and flying around like we have for a very long time. As you have your freeways, as we have our connection, they as you have them on this planet, we have them up in your skies. So you are going to see our exit points and our entrances. And if that is helpful for you. So, my dear friend Regan, you have been, in my understanding, helping people go forward. And as you go forward in your life, remember that you too are wanting to get more into your body. That will help your lungs, my dear friend.
Hmm.
And as you come into this understanding, remembering that as you walk, remember to walk with your feet on the ground, and because you do zip and zap from place to place instead of slowing down and walking to where you need to go. Remember that you do not have to do the old story, my dear friend, of backing this to that. You can give yourself an hour between things so that you are not rushing from one thing to another. You can ask your guides to help you with time. Does that make sense, dear friend?
Yeah, sure does.
Thank you. Now, I have said some stuff. I have understanding time is a little bit short for us right now, but I am going to help you do some work here in your knowings. Regan, do you have some questions, my friend?
Well, yeah, I've been listening to Bashar a lot too. So is he like a co-worker with Bashar? Like they both just, you know, they're channeling through other people just to try to get the word out more, you
Yes,
know,
we
like it's
are all
kind of
coming
coming out.
into, we are, sorry for interrupting you. We are all coming into this story of helping you. There are many who are starting to channel many of us because we are strong. Bashar decided to come to this planet as a scout, as you can put it in your language, to
Mm-hmm.
support the journey of life. He has also his host that decided to channel him, had to do some inner work to get there. So that was part of the teamwork for them. This
Mm-hmm.
dear one was already at a certain level that she did not need to have that journey with me. I have, she has allowed me to be in her life very quickly and trust the process of that.
Mm-hmm.
So coming into this, yes, we are all coming to your planet in one form or another to support the evolution of the body's soul and the soul's body to be one on this planet.
Hmm. Here's I think an interesting question maybe. Um, where you're at now, Mikhail, um, you know, when Abraham comes through Hicks, the woman, and that all of you, are you just in a different dimension and you're coming from there, or are you in what we call the afterlife, where you know that goes say beyond where you're at? So I guess what I'm wondering, are you in what we would call the afterlife talking to us, or are you just in a different dimension, or is there a difference between those two?
There is truly no real difference between the two. It is the form that the person or the being is in at the time.
Hmm.
I am in the form of spirit in this form as this dear one channels me. But when I am in my spaceship, as the word likes to be on this planet,
Mm-hmm.
uh, we are in more of a physical, energetic form, like you. Not
Mm-hmm.
like you, but we have an energetic form. And so our home is a lot like this planet that we choose to be. Bashar is part of my community. My community is many planets, yet we are of understanding that we have chosen as a team to come on this planet to awaken you. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so coming into this, that you are and we are all energy forms in a way of being. So if someone has passed over, they are more in spirit form in the dimension and the reality that they choose to be in as they come over on the other side, as the word is right now. It is just basically walking through a curtain, and there is no work to be there. You can be there in your own knowing. It is just as easy to do that. That is part of the work that you do. Is that even though the physical body still lays on the couch, or the whatever the body is on, the spirit and the mind and the emotions and the wisdom. Yes, the wisdom has its own energy, walks with the soul to do the journeying of seeing what is around the dimensional walk of that person.
So, Mikhail, you're talking about you right now. You're operating through your spiritual body, but you also have a physical body, like that. In other words, if I was to see you, you would be something solid that I
I
could
would
shake your
say that
hand.
yes, I would be of solidness, not of solid of this physical body like it is on this planet.
Hmm. Okay.
I do have a soul that likes to journey. It part of me stays with my physical being of sorts, and then I come and be with you. Just like when you are meditating, your soul stays with your body and then can go to other places also.
Uh,
Jesus and Michael and all those beings, they are the same way. That is why Archangel Michael and Jesus and Mother Mary can be in so many different ways and forms, is because it is about energy movement, just like your phones, just like your TVs, just like
mm-hmm,
anything that you can be in many places at the same time.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay. Well, that's interesting. I just was really curious about that. So, how soon? Bashar talks about contact coming sometime this year or next or something. Is that kind of concurrent with what you're saying? Like
We
you're,
are
I don't
here.
know exactly.
We are
Yeah, you
here.
are here.
We are already
Yeah.
showing ourselves on this planet. Like by the end of the year, you will be seeing many who have uncloaked basically as they land, or they, oh,
Mm-hmm.
let's see. Um, as we are flying in your airspace, we are already there. We have just been cloaking ourselves so that you do
Yeah.
not see us. Now there is the uncloaking. So you
Yeah.
are above you, where you live, you do have a spaceship of a bigger sense that is right above that area, and
Oh,
soon you will see it, as
awesome.
and it is closer than you think. It is not to be fearful of that
Yeah.
beings of that ship, because they have been there for so long. If they would have been doing something, they would have already done it
Right. Yeah.
millions of years ago
Wow.
of
You
your
know, I
time on Earth.
I just have this fear. Dr. Greer talks about um, the people involved for the, what do they call it, military complex, that they will try to create some sort of false flag thing, making it look like it's you guys, the aliens, or the off-world people causing harm or something, so that people get on board to uh, hurt you if you show yourself. But how are you going to manage that with, because there'll still be some people who are so afraid that they would want to harm you, or they would try to convince us that you're some sort of demonic beings or something. But I just worry about that. But I'm guessing you guys know what you're doing, when you come down here. You have that figured
That
out
is
somehow.
called the trust and surrender and acceptance of the world that is coming in.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that there are going to people who disharm their knowings. And it is
Yeah.
time for us to all come into the fruition that we are working together. That is part of the understanding that is being uncloaked at this time. That's why we have not all awakened at the same time of the understanding of where we're at. That is why we are choosing and chose to be here and there to do it. Your
Yeah.
military, as it is called, knows about us, has been working with us for many, many years of your years. And there is an understanding that, and there is communication that this is going to be happening. There might
Okay.
be one or two with a trigger finger Yes,
Yeah.
we are ready for that. And remember that our being is a different form of life. That if something comes and does something, we have a way of negotiating. I like that word that she uses, of being where we are and how we do that. We remember have many ships that go beyond this world, and so with that we do not fear your planet. We acknowledge your planet in many ways, and in many people are very stagnant, and so we are here to awaken you so that you can be a part of this new growth. And that is part of
Yeah.
the understanding is that you'll remember that your planet does not use your brain very well. And so coming into who you are going to be, your brain is waking up to understandings that are beyond, and that is part of this waking up of the sleeping brain,
Yeah.
the wake up
Well,
of the sleeping knowing, the wake up of who you are. So coming into this understanding of this new world will be about how can you um, like in liking your parts of you that you did not know you had.
yeah. Well, I think that's seems to be happening. Mikhail, are you um, responsible at all for any of the climate change or any of the craziness that's going down here with our climate or weather? Is it are you manipulating some of that, or is that just something that's happening in another, beyond what you're happening here, if you know what I mean?
We are choosing to not do harm. We are choosing to help. We also understand that your planet has much ego, as the word is that is being used on this planet. And another word that has been used on this planet is greed.
Mm-hmm.
People of that understanding do not understand that they are damaging their own world that they are living in.
Mm-hmm.
We, as the family of beings, are working with many on your planet to help uh, take out the powers that can end this world.
Mm.
Earth has been here longer than them. They do not think that.
Mm-hmm.
We are all here to help your world live long. Many of you are living long on this planet, trusting that process will be what's the word that I would like to choose? If you notice, I'm choosing my words right now.
Mm-hmm.
Blessings will be with you soon. Blessings will be with you soon.
Okay.
There
Well,
are
thank you
many
for.
things being uncovered as we are speaking. And the spoken word is not necessarily a statement that is, when we speak of things, we make them permanent. And so I'm choosing to tread lightly on permanency of this moment.
Okay.
Please remember, people are not always thinking of the we, they are thinking of the I. And this
Yeah.
is the time to think of the we, because we impact the others. As you had that vision of the cause and the check marks, we have the ability to have a blessed cause and effect, as the words were used earlier, or a negative cause and effect, as the words were used earlier.
Okay. Thank you.
You're more than welcome. I am so grateful to be able to communicate words for people, even if it is not words that I could use.
Yes. Well, you did well. I could understand it. Thank you.
So be. Do you have one more question, my dear friend?
No, I think you've satisfied my curiosity because, like I say, listening to Bashar, now listening to you, and then just what the sense of things seems to be among people. We can all feel that that something big is coming, and I'm glad that I'm so far. The fear mode is very little, and the excitement is very high. So I can't wait for the reveal. That would just be great.
Your mind is more ready than some others. So remembering that as people are listening to this, that if you are questioning if you should believe this, that is part of the brain that is needing to wake up. So
Yeah,
trust this process of where you're at and what is going on. And remember that the matrix dimensions, the realities of around you are changing and shifting. If things don't work right for you at the moment, change what you are doing to change the reality and the dimension, and then go back and try again. Because sometimes there is a glitch in the system that does not want you to do it at that time. So
mm,
remembering that as you flow, you are the wheels that keep that dimension and that reality going. So if you choose to have a different reality, change your thinking. You will
yeah.
change the reality.
I'm finding that out more and more. Thank you.
You're more than welcome. Thank you for asking the questions. It was joyful to be here in this moment with you. Blessings to all that are watching. Blessings to all that are in this world. Blessings to all that in the world around us. And know that you are not alone in this journey. Please remember to find love. Love is going to heal this planet more than ever. That is a vibration that is a clean vibration. So even if you are wondering what is going to happen in many governments around this world, remember love can heal, and know that love can change the vibration around you. This dear one was meant to be in the cause the other night because she was love holding space as the people around her were struggling. So remembering that sometimes we put you in situations to be the one to shift the realities around you. You
Yeah,
are blessed. You are strong. You are knowing. Remember that love is part of this work, and that is what is part of the journey of this human space and time.
okay.
May love be, may love go. Is there something else, my dear friend?
No, that's it for today.
Thank you.
But thank you.
And blessed be. I will be here next week with my understandings and help for you. Maybe love.
Thank you,
Blessings.
Mikhail. Hmm.
Hi.
Wow. So, hi. So that's awesome. I love when he speaks through there. And yeah, see, this is just one more thing showing that confirming the same thing that seems to be happening everywhere, is that going to be contact. I think that's when contact happens, the ripple effect is going to be this whole change in spirituality, the way people look at God, the way people look at creation, the way they look at everything. So just them saying like, wow, we're not the only ones around. So many things are going to change in that ripple effect over the next,
It's
10
gonna
or
take a
15
lot.
years.
It's gonna show how many lies were out there.
Yeah. How
How
many
many
lies?
lies?
Oh,
Hmm.
yeah. Hmm.
It's gonna clean up the lies.
Yeah.
Our
Yeah.
government and our reality has been not in its fullity for many years. So
Yeah.
I get that. I get that. Well,
Yeah.
Regan, it's that
Well,
time of the
thanks.
night already.
I know. I'm getting ready to go fix dinner. So, um, thank
What you
you.
having for dinner?
Well, I got some stuff at the store, and we're going to see what I can make of it. Got some already cooked chicken and some scalloped potatoes and something, And I'm actually maybe starting this thing called the metabolic balance. I just got this book right here. It's called the Metabolic Kitchen, and it's
Mm-hmm.
a friend of mine is one of the coaches on this. And the woman who put this together is very well read and smart. Has been dealing with this with her clients for years and changing their life by, I think, basically what they do is they send off a blood sample to a lab, and they supposed to be very um, very complex, and you get back a thing that shows you all the foods that agree with you and all the foods that don't. And then her cookbook here is all these recipes for, because in a sense that means everybody in your family is going to be eating something different probably, but we're but I guess there's ways of figuring that out. So I don't know. We'll see. I think she wants to do it on trade to maybe learn some of the skills that I do, so she can maybe help people to visit the other side. So anybody wants to get a hold of me, I'm at visittheafterlife.com. I do traditional therapy. There's a traditional therapy page on my website, but mostly what I do is I help people go into a deep state of relaxation, and you find yourself separating your earthly consciousness to your spiritual consciousness. You go to heaven for a few hours, or the afterlife, and what you can experience there is unbelievable. I had some amazing sessions this week and healings that people had from being on the other side. There's even healers on the other side to discuss your health issues, kind of help you give you information on why you've caused yourself to be sick, because it's normally our cells sick. And then did a healing for one of my clients.
Mm-hmm.
So that was pretty miraculous, So
Oh, I
anyway,
bet. I
and
bet.
and what about you, Natasha? Now?
You can reach me at intuitiveclarifications.com. I really have the life calling to support people through how can we get healthier as a mental, mind, spirit, emotions, stories, helping us move forward into who we are and what we're meant to be. And I do that through a lot of different forms, mediumship, you know, um, talking with guides. I know I had a session the other day that my dad even helped give messages to the person I was talking with. So,
Nice.
you know, it's just an expansive way of negotiating our story, and our
Yeah,
story is so rewritable right now.
it is. Yeah. Well, what they tell me from the other side is we all need to get serious about what we came down here to do in our
Hmm.
missions. In other words, if we've gotten off track, you need to get back to spreading the light. And that could be as simple as just, being more mindful of every decision you make, that it comes from a kind, loving place, and
Exactly.
that's what we all need right now to shift into this, greater consciousness. So, you
Hmm.
know, don't
Exactly.
be too hard on yourself if you goof sometimes. People listening, but because we're all going to, but just get right back up and move forward.
Push that
Declaring
reset
yourself
button.
as a vehicle for spirit, right? Yeah. So we're
Exactly.
all we're all helping each other here in some way. So you're doing great work, Natasha. I'm so happy to
Thank
be able to see you once a month there. And yeah, I know it'll seem like I'll be talking to you tomorrow, but it'll be So,
A month from now. Well, blessings, everyone. And I keep
yeah. All
praying
right.
that everyone who's going through something, that they have light and love in their life and that they find their
Yes.
way. They find their way.
Yes. All right. See you next month. See you,
See you
everybody.
next week. I'll
Bye.
be live. And I think I might be going live with Mikkel, just a short little blurb, or
Yes.
but definitely for Wednesday at 4 o'clock Pacific time, I will
Yes.
be on next week.
Well, yeah, that's great. I'm hoping that, some people see this and then they'll start sharing it. And then, the word's going to get out more and it'll be just more confirmation of what's going on. So keep up the good work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
if
See
you
you
know
later now.
somebody who can use this, please share, please like, please follow.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of people say that, but I want people to have hope and love in their life. I've had a lot of people who said, Natasha, sometimes I go to sleep with your voice just because it's so calming. And it's
Yeah.
like, I'm here to support. So blessings,
Yes.
everyone.
Okay. Bye
Bye
now.
now.